Today's story is about something that comes from these beautiful, luscious trees. What is it? That's right, you guessed it. Apples. And it starts with these seeds. And then we get these beautiful apples. That's right. Today's story is about Jonny Appleseed. There's a lot of different versions of this story, but this particular one is by Haskins Houran. Let's get started. Jonny Appleseed. Look at Johnny there, picking an apple off the tree. Have you ever gone apple picking? On a fine September day, more than 200 years ago, a boy named Johnny Chapman was born. Someday he would be famous, but he would be known by different names. One was Jonny Appleseed. Johnny grew up in Massachusetts in a small, crowded house. He liked to take long walks in the woods where it was calm and quiet. He liked to feel the sun on his face and the earth under his bare feet. When Johnny turned 18, he took a very long walk, more than 400 miles. He brought along food supplies and a sack of apple seeds. Johnny had an idea. Settlers were starting to go west in covered wagons, looking for new places to live. Johnny figured they would want apples to eat and press into cider. But there were no apple trees out west. Even if the settlers planted seeds, it would take years for trees to sprout and grow fruit. Why not give the settlers a head start? Johnny reached Pennsylvania. Near a river, he found a patch of land with rich soil and plenty of sunlight, a perfect place for growing apple trees. He planted some seeds, then he built a sturdy fence so that when the new seedlings came up, deer and rabbits wouldn't eat them. It was his first nursery. Johnny planted more seeds, thousands of them across Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Indiana. He worked and walked, going from nursery to tend his trees. Meanwhile, the settlers came. Sure enough, they wanted apples. They were happy to pay Johnny a few cents apiece for seedlings. Sometimes he even gave them away to families who were down on their luck. People spread the word about Johnny and his apple trees. That's how he got his nickname. Have you met Jonny Appleseed? He's mighty kind, people said. Mighty peculiar, too. It was true. For one thing, Johnny looked strange. He wore old ragged pants. He cut holes in coffee sacks to make his shirts. He still didn't wear shoes. By now, folks claimed his feet were so tough a snake's fangs couldn't prick them. People even swore they saw Johnny wear a tin pot for a hat. And then cook his dinner in it. Johnny's diet was another thing people couldn't get over. He didn't like to hurt animals, so he wouldn't eat meat. Not one bite. He filled up on corn mush, potatoes, and nuts instead. And when night fell, Johnny liked to sleep outdoors. He settled like sheep outdoors. He settled in a hollow log or stretched out on a pile of leaves. He didn't seem to worry about the bears and panthers that roamed the woods. It was almost as if Johnny was a forest creature himself. Johnny might have been odd, but he was friendly. He got along with just about everyone he met. Native Americans shared their trails with him. They showed him which berries were safe to eat and how to make medicine from leaves and roots. Settlers invited Johnny into their cabins and asked him to tell stories. Sometimes he read from the Bible. Good news fresh from heaven, he'd say. Other times, he acted out his own wild adventures. People retold Johnny's tales and made up new ones too. As the years went by, the tales grew taller and taller. Did you know Johnny can thaw ice with his bare feet? He has tame wolf that follows him around like a puppy. Once he tricked 10 woodsmen into a chopping contest. They cleared a whole acre of land for a nursery. The stories wound their way east and west back again. So did Johnny. He traveled hundreds of miles a year making new nurseries and tending the old ones. Every so often he rode a horse or paddled a canoe. But most of the time he walked and walked and walked. He kept this up for nearly 50 years. One day, when he was 70 years old, Johnny walked through a snowstorm to fix a fence around some of the trees. Afterwards, he fell ill and died. Johnny was sorely missed, but he was not forgotten, and neither was his great idea. As settlers moved farther and farther west, they carried along apple seeds just the way Johnny had. They planted apple trees of their own. Today, apples grow in every state of America. And that is the story of Jonny Appleseed, as told by Lori Haskins Houran. So when you bite into an apple, just remember the story about Jonny Appleseed and how delicious they are. So if you get some seeds, I hope you plant them too.